Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Gear Up. Now, I just want to quickly clarify what this series is all about. I know you guys might be a little bit confused as I have changed the name of it a few times. I first went with Weapon Stash and then I changed it to Test Range, but now I've decided to go with Gear Up, and I'll be sticking to that name from here onwards. Now, this series is all about you guys telling me what gear to use in Battlefield 4. It can be anything from weapons, jets, vehicles, gadgets, and even equipment. It doesn't have to be all about weapons. I've had a lot of people requesting me to play with some hipfire optimized setups, so I've decided over the next few episodes I'll be going through them. So the first one is the SR2 PDW using the laser sight, silencer, Cobra red dot sight, and the ergo grip, which obviously comes as standard with the SR2. And also I just want to add the black shark camo for that extra swag. Now, some of this footage was me using no barrel attachments as I didn't have the silencer unfortunately, but I did eventually unlock it and I did start to use it. This setup is requested to be mainly used in close quarter combat and optimized for team deathmatch. So with the parameters set, I took this setup into a very competitive clan server that runs Gold Mud Railway Team Deathmatch 24/7 to match the requested setup. This is a very exciting and fun setup as I do love running and gunning. Hipfire and weapons I'm not that into. I always prefer to aim it down sight unless my target is right in front of my face. So I was a bit worried with my lack of hipfire experience, but fortunately with the SR2 being a PDW, combine that with the ergo grip and laser sight, it's incredibly easy to hipfire. You can really pull off some ridiculous hipfire kills from some pretty far away distances. It's a truly great way to quickly kill someone as you don't have that very slight delay when going in the aiming down sight animation. The PDWs are naturally better for on the move action as they have a really low on the move penalty compared to assault rifles and carbines. But the SR2, I would say in my opinion, is probably one of the better PDWs. I'm not going to say it's the best, as I don't think there is any best weapons in Battlefield 4. Like I've said many times before, it just really comes down to what works for you. Now, the SR2 has some pretty impressive specs, and if you're wondering how to unlock this weapon, well, firstly you need the Naval Strike DLC, then you need to complete the Packing a Punch assignment that requires for you to destroy 20 boats. So let's talk about some of the SR2 specs. It has a fire rate of 900, so it's going to be really deadly in close quarter fights. The SR2 has a very unique damage model of 26 damage within 10 meters, then dropping off to 12.1 damage at 60 meters. The recoil is also manageable and the reload times are decent. They're not that great, to be honest. And it also has a very low muzzle velocity, especially with the silencer. So now with this information, we can easily see how this setup is going to work well in what situations and where it's going to fail. With that damage model and low muzzle velocity, obviously this is really only best suited to close range fights. You may get away with some medium range kills, but you're going to find yourself setting up your kills so that you're more closer to the enemy. I think the attachments for this setup works really well with the SR2. There's just no point in using attachments to try and make it more viable for the longer range distances. I did try to face my enemy at long ranges, but I found it really difficult to keep my sight on the target, especially with that really high first shot multiplier that the SR2 has. Medium distances was okay as long as you tap fire, but close range fights is where this setup really shines and completely dominates. The only times I was ever outgunned was if the enemy saw me first and got in a few shots before I returned fire. Even in those situations, I still found even when I returned fire, I was still able to get my target down to really low HP before dying. Your playstyle needs to slightly change as well with this setup. Try not to engage long range targets. If you see a group of enemies far away, try to move your way up and get closer to them. A lot of my kills were actually from doing this. I've seen some people take down targets at a really long range with this setup, and I do applaud them, as like I said before, I did struggle a little bit when it came to long range targets. I guess if I play with the SR2 for long enough, I could maybe be that skilled with this weapon. This is definitely one of those setups that will only cater to some people that love maneuvering their way around the enemy to take out targets on the move. For me personally, I don't like using PDWs, to be honest. I would much prefer to use my much loved PKP LMG. I just really hate having to change my playstyle to suit the gun or setup. I really don't want to be using a setup that's only good for some situations. I like to go with weapons or setups that can handle all kind of encounters. So in conclusion, I did enjoy using this setup, but I also equally hated it, if that makes any sense. Like I said at the start, I was asked to use this setup in a team deathmatch server, and I think that's the only time I'll ever actually consider using this particular setup. I would strictly stick to close combat maps and game modes. There's no way I would use this for a typical open field conquest map. So anyway, that's the end of this week's episode of Gear Up. Let me know if you like this setup and how well it performs with you if you do decide to try it out. Leave a comment down below of what gear setup you want me to try out next. Remember, it can be any weapon, vehicle or gadgets, equipment, just literally anything in Battlefield 4. Remember to be as creative and detailed as possible. So take care, and I'll see you in next week's episode of Gear Up.